Hey everyone, Simon Bielman here, developer for Harmonia. It has been about a week, I think just under a week since we started the Kickstarter campaign here, so I'd like to give an update about how the campaign is going and where we go from here. First of all, things have been going pretty well. Things have been going really well, and I'm excited about the momentum that we've reached. This is actually a nice bookend to the first week. We've just passed the $1,000 goal. Still an uphill battle, but we have a lot of momentum, and the way Kickstarter works is really that last week is going to be what pushes us over the edge. Probably actually the last 48 or even 24 hours. So if we can just keep up the momentum and just keep spreading the word and keep the funding coming in, that should get us to where we need to be by that crucial time. By the way, if I sound absolutely exhausted in this update, it's because I'm absolutely exhausted. I've been working myself as close to 24 hours a day as humanly possible in this last week and really pushing my body to the limits as I've been trying to get the word out there and promote Harmonia. This is bad. This is not good for the human being thing, so I'm going to take a break for the full day, maybe 2 days. And just relax and recuperate and reflect and plan for what I'm going to do for week 2 and really get the ball rolling there. As always, you can help this project along by just spreading the word and letting people you know that this exists, which has the nice bonus side effect of lowering my blood pressure and giving me time to do things like eat and sleep and relax and not just frantically promote Harmonia every single minute of the day, so I can meet the $15,000 deadline by September 8th. Alright, before I mention what's been going on this last week, I want to give a few thank yous and shout-outs. First and foremost to the members of the Reddit and Something Awful community who are leading the charge in pledges to this project and keeping it afloat. So big thanks to you guys. Seeing that you care about the project is what motivates me to keep going, other than my own delusions of grandeur. Special thank you to my buddy Miles, who's been the other member of this team, and he's been working like crazy keeping the server and everything afloat as I work on promoting and development, and he's been a hidden force in this project so far, so big thanks to him. Thanks some friends and folks on Reddit and throughout the game that have connected, that have been helping out the project. Moddit, or Nint, for writing a gameplay and command guide on the wiki. Llamabox of Initiative Games for posting a video on Harmonia, and a whole bunch of people who've been spreading the word here and there. So if I left anyone out, if you feel like you've been helping out and you want a shout out, toss me a message and I'll include you in the next video update. So what's been going on in this last week? First and foremost, it's just been non-stop promotion, sending news posts and spreading the good word about Harmonia to every forum and subreddit and website that I can think of. If there's a site you know of that I haven't hit up that I really should, please send me a message and I'll hop on it. After the first day of promotion, I decided to crank out a demo of the game and port it to Windows as quickly as possible, so that was a good solid like 18-hour workday that was absolutely nuts. But it happened. The build is still there. It's kind of unstable, but it's enough for people to connect and chat and see that there's really a game there. We also just got a Mac OS X port built, which is not going to be released until it has some more stability issues, but everything's coming along nicely, so hopefully that'll be out soon. Now, the reason there wasn't a demo to begin with was that I was hesitant about a few things. First of all, the gameplay that's in the game right now I feel doesn't represent what the final game will be and why this project is on Kickstarter in the first place. And it kind of sends a confusing message to have both the massive text and the three-dimensional stuff in the background. It looks really technical right now, and the goal of the Kickstarter is to cut down on that, so I don't want to send that message that this game is like really complicated and you have to memorize a massive amount of key commands to play it. And there hasn't been much testing outside of a small circle of people, and the server hasn't really seen tons of traffic yet. But on the bright side, having people connect has been a good stress test for the server and kind of a good eye-opener of things that need to be done in the future to manage all the traffic and boost stability and all that. And feedback has been 90% positive, so, you know, I really couldn't be happy. Well, I could be happier, but I'm really happy with how this has gone. It's also been a big roller coaster of ups and downs during this first week. There have been times where tons of pledges are coming in and I'm getting all this positive feedback and players are connecting and they're saying, oh yeah, this is great, and I've got all these emails and personal messages coming in that I need to address, and it's just so much that I can't keep up with it. And then I sit back and reflect and think, oh my god, this is really happening. This is actually going to succeed. And then there are days where there's absolutely nothing coming in and nobody connects, and I just think, oh my god, this is a total failure. Nothing's going to work. Why am I doing this? I'm stupid, blah, blah, blah. But at this point, I've kind of learned that I just need to chill out and just keep working, be diligent, and all I can really do is hope for the best. The worst night was when earlier that day there had just been this sudden increase in traffic, and all of a sudden pledges were coming in and people were connecting, and the server had seen the most traffic it ever had. And then it suddenly went down. So I went into full-on panic, about to have a heart attack mode, and I was frantically trying to get everything together because I just sent links to the site to like all these other websites, and it would all be for nothing if the website was down. But fortunately it was just a hiccup, and then within like I think an hour and a half everything was back up and I could calm down, and then that's when I learned that I should stop panicking and just kind of roll with it. Hopefully I'll remember this lesson going forward. So that's been the first week. What have I learned during that week? First of all, I learned that I'm crazy and this is nuts to tackle all this on by myself. But I went into this project knowing it was going to be a ridiculous amount of work, and I feel like I prepared well enough, so I regret nothing. There were a lot of issues that had fallen out of my mind that I'd forgot to address, such as I'm going to have to deal with a sudden influx in player traffic if I release this demo. There's no good way for other people to report bugs, and there were some cross-platform hardware complications I hadn't quite addressed yet. And naturally, now that this was seeing public eyes, there were some gameplay issues that were arising. One thing that's been really nice that I didn't really think about when launching this is that when new people connect, I can talk with them live as they experience the game with fresh eyes and get a lot of good feedback going forward, and integrate that into the game when I actually have time and I'm not just frantically promoting this project. I've actually learned quite a bit about just the process of getting something out there and promoting it during this Kickstarter campaign, and if I could go back in time and do it again, I would do things a lot differently. But I think that just really means that I've been working hard enough to learn a lot in this first week, and now I can take all of that experience and move it forward to the next week. So instead of looking back, I'm going to look forward to week 2 now that I have a handle on how this is going and really tackle it full force. So let's talk about some of the gameplay issues that have arisen during the project based on player feedback from the demo. First thing I want to address is people complaining about the lag. Now, the reason there is a lot of lag is that the way this game has worked thus far is that everything, and I mean everything, is done by the server, even the player display. And this is simply how a MUD works, where you don't have a client, you just use this program called Telnet, you connect, and all it does is it sends characters to the server and the server sends stuff back to you. And this method is obviously going to have tons of lag, which is why I'm making the new client. That is going to handle a lot of the stuff that the server is currently doing locally, so you'll have immediate response time on movement and chat and whatever, and exactly what you would expect for an online game. Also, the server, I believe, is located in Sweden at the moment, so that's a bit of a trek if you're connecting from the US. Also, number 2 is the game's graphics, or rather the game's placeholder programmer graphics. Nothing that you see is what the final product will actually be, which is kind of the point of this Kickstarter campaign. Good art is expensive, and I want to have good art in the game, so that's where a lot of the funding is going to go. Because this game has previously been exclusively text-based, there was never a need for art, or music or sound, so 100% of the development for content has no assets whatsoever. So again, that's what the Kickstarter is for. And thirdly and lastly, why isn't there a really comprehensive game guide on how to play? Well, there is the tutorial zone, which goes through a lot of the basics, but I personally feel that it's a lot of too long, didn't read. I would rather not have a bunch of signs that are massive paragraphs in order to learn how to play the game. So I've said it a bunch, and I'll say it again, that the current interface that is going to be scrapped later for something that's a lot more intuitive, that will have a HUD and mouse commands and so forth. So a lot of this text can be removed, and you can pick up the game really quickly. So until that system is in place, I don't want to spend too much time documenting the current interface that is in the game, because that's just going to eventually be tossed aside anyway. And I'd rather spend that time on development. Because at the moment, time is the most valuable commodity I have, and I want to use it, really pushing things forward. So what's the plan for the next week and the rest of the Kickstarter campaign? I want to do 2 updates per week like I did this week, and release the Mac OS X build of the demo, so Mac players have a chance to check it out. And then development for the rest of the campaign is going to shift to bug fixing so I can safely send the demo out and not worry about having it crash, which is just kind of disastrous. But even though I really want to get back to development and add tons and tons of new stuff, the focus right now has to be the Kickstarter project until this concludes. So I'm just going to keep working on that until the time limit is up and I collapse from exhaustion, and then if everything is successful, I can get back to actually working on the game. I think it's finally time to take this project and get a small team together and really tackle it. But I am once again going to wait until the Kickstarter is over before I do that, because that's going to be a lot of planning and a lot of thought to think of who is going to be doing what. But in the meantime, once again, looking for anyone who's willing to volunteer their help on the project, mostly in promotion or just telling other people that this Kickstarter exists so that it can get out there and succeed, and then we can move on to the next phase. So thank you for listening to my little rant here on this project. I am going to take a nice break, relax and recuperate. So thanks for listening. I will see you later.